all the wonderful 99 or 100 ladies who are here in class. Thank you so much for taking your time out from whatever side of the world. I know that for some it's at night, for some it's morning, but you chose to be here and to be part of our after Valentine's. We are still in the Valentine's mood. As you can see, I'm dressed in red because you are all my Valentines for today. We are here to learn, we are here to inspire, we are here to, including myself. I know every time I come to a masterclass, we hear something new from somebody. We cannot say that we are the only ones who are going to be doing the teaching. And let me first start by saying that love is not just about finding the right person, but it is also about being ready for the right relationship. I know most of us have come here. I know I have seen on the comments somebody saying that they want to find a 50 plus year person. Some of us think that they want to find a white person. Some of us, everybody has got an idea of what they want. But the big question is, are you ready? That is what you're going to be figuring out today. And I'm going to let Rael introduce herself, who she is, because I know most of us are here for either from my side, some from her side. She's going to tell us who she is and a bit about herself before we start. Rael.
Thank you. So my name is Rael Ekenrod. I am Rael Okoth Ekenrod. Okoth is my dad and Ekenrod is my husband. So I was born and raised in Kenya, and now I live here in the US with my husband, Bill. So I started, I got married the first time when I was 18, and it was not a good marriage. I'm trying to figure out what do I say, what don't I say, because my story is very long. So I have to make it short.
Say everything but summarize.
I need to summarize. So the first time when I got married, I was 18 years old. And in that marriage and in that relationship, it was a come or stay relationship where you have your boyfriend, you like each other, you start living together. So we had 3 children, 3 girls, 3 daughters, and it was not a good relationship in any way or form. And I can't say that it was good and then it became bad. It was not good from the very beginning. But being an 18-year-old, I didn't know any better. And I thought that, maybe if I stay, maybe if I do this, maybe if I have more kids, maybe I'm not doing something right. So it was a lot of self-blame from the beginning. But I noted that I was not being treated. First of all, I was not respected, that I could handle money. So I was not being given any money. If I want anything, I had to say what it was. And then probably he both buys it if I'm lucky. But after some time, it became very difficult and I had to survive with my children. So I had to find ways to make money. And there's nothing I haven't done under the sun. So I don't want to go deep into that. But I had already finished my Form 4 because most people think that, how did you do that? How did you finish school? I had finished school. I had passed very, very well. Yeah, so this relationship was not good. Relationship wasn't good from the very beginning. And I tried to get away. I tried to run away to my parents. I was taken back. He was told to pay some cows and, so that I'm official. And so he paid those cows. I went back. And then, I ran away a second time. I ran away a third time. Every time I was being told to go back. Our culture is the way it is. And I'm the firstborn in the family. So the firstborn is always like, there is so much pressure for you to be perfect. So finally, I saw that I wasn't going to get this kind of support that I needed. So my final move, I planned it for 3 years. And so the good thing is that I had already gone back to college. My dad had already paid for me to go back to college. And at this time, I had a good job. So I saved money. I looked for an apartment. And when I made the move, I had saved quite some money that I could pay rent at least for 3 months. Remember, it took 3 years to plan my exit. And so I did exit the marriage and I moved with my children. I knew he was going to come after them. So meanwhile, I took my children to my parents and told my parents not to give him the children. But then I moved by myself. And then later on, I took my children from my parents. And that's how I left my first relationship. And so after that, I dated for some time. They were not good dates. They were very bad dates now looking back. And I'm so glad that I didn't commit, because at that time there were many people that came and wanted me to be like a second wife. And I said, leaving a house as a first wife, the only wife, to go somewhere else as a second wife. So that one I said completely, no, I'm not going to be anybody's second wife. But during this time, what I came to realize were my strengths. I went back to school. I went back to business school. I got a diploma. I started a business. I bought property. I built a house. So these 8 years, I worked so hard on myself. And the good thing the advantage of being single is you're making all the decisions. You don't have to ask anybody for permission. You don't have to. I worked hard. I was working. I was doing several businesses on the side. And I was able to take my children, all of them, to the private school they were going to. And all of them went through high school before the first one had already completed high school by the time I met my husband. The second one was in Form 3. And the third one was the one that was still in primary school. So I was able to take my children to school without having to ask for financial help from anybody, because of just the hard work that I put into it. So by the time I met my husband, and I met him online, I wasn't looking to get married again. I was looking for a pen pal. It was 2002. Online dating was something that I just thought you must be very, very idle to go online to look for a wife. So I was going there to get a pen pal, because all through my high school I had a pen pal. So I was looking for somebody maybe just to tell me about their lives, me to share their lives, and just to know about other people. My mind wasn't thinking about marriage. Remember, at this time, my children were growing and were really big, and I'm a Luo, from Luo land. Whatever they talk about you when you've left your husband is not a good thing. So the idea that I had already resolved that I was going to be single my whole life. So when my husband hit me, hi, how are you? I didn't even respond the first time. The second time, I didn't respond. The third, it was the sixth time that I was responding and saying, hi, tell me about yourself, because I was wondering, why is this guy hitting on me this much and it's not giving up? So the sixth time I asked him, hi, how are you? Can you tell me about yourself? And so he went into this very long litany about himself, and that got me by surprise, that somebody could be so open and tell me things that I knew very well they were genuine and they were true, because the kind of things he told me about himself in that letter, and we were still communicating through the app, the kind of things that he told me, they could not be like false, because it wasn't like all good and all flowery and all this. So when I responded to him, I just told him about myself and my children and being single and the work that I did. And then from there is when we started our relationship. And we dated online for about 6 months. And he came over to visit me in Kenya. He wanted me to come to the US. I said, no, please. I was afraid. I didn't know who he was. I knew he was a very nice guy. He was calling me every day, but to go there I said, no, if you want me, you come to Kenya. And he said, for sure, I'm coming, but you have to promise to marry me when I come. I said, yeah, we've been talking. I love you and all that. Yeah, I'll marry you if you come. And so that's it. So he came. We got married in 2003, April. So we had been dating online from around October of 2022. And then we got married in 2023, April 15. So it's going to be 22 years of marriage. And I took him to meet my parents. By that time, he had already communicated with my dad on the phone. And he was communicating with me on the phone. He had already asked my dad's hand in marriage. He had already told my dad that he wanted to marry me and the kids. And we had not even discussed where we were going to live. So he told my dad, we will discuss that. It will either be we live in Kenya or we come live in the US. So he was a nice guy. He's still a nice man. I would marry him over if I have to do it again. So, but I had to adjust and he had to adjust. And we have, from the very, very beginning, we said this marriage was for life. It was not come we stay. It was not let's see how it will go. It was not, yeah. So we said whatever that will come our way, we were going to look at it as a unit, like both of us. And we took separation or divorce out of the table from the day that we got married. And so whatever we have had to confront in this relationship, we confront it without thinking that I will ever leave him or he will ever leave me. So there's no time or moment in the last 22 years that I felt so bad that I wanted to leave. There's never become that time. In my previous relationship, that was a constant in my head. It's like I felt like I was in a prison. How can I break out? That's how it felt. I felt suffocated. This relationship, there is freedom from the beginning. My husband has never wanted me to be anything other than what I want, what I am, and what I was when he met me. Even through the dating, the 6 months of dating, he never told me, don't do this, don't go here. Why are you doing? No, it's whatever I wanted to do. He said, okay, take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow, And there was and that has been the motto in our life. I don't stop him from doing what he loves. He doesn't stop me from doing what I love. We called it a partnership of love in life. And so I don't want to go into details. I'll give Jacinta this time to talk about herself. So, and Jacinta will tell you also after she has completed why we are here and what we hope to give you.
Thank you, Ryle. That is a very incredible story. I must say, every time I hear it, and it was what I had in the first place. Let me just give the connection or the backstory. Mm-hmm. I found out about Ryle plays a huge part in my life. We might be from different generations. That your daughters are my age, almost my age, right?
They're older than you. Let me tell my oldest is 40 years old.
Okay.
I'm 50 years old. I got her when I was 18. She's 40 years old. And my second born is 38, almost 39. My third born is 33, your age. And then I have our baby, our son that we got with my husband, who is 19, and he's going to be 20 in July. So I have 4 kids, the 3 kids from my first relationship, and then our son that we got together. Yes.
That's amazing. So that was the backstory that I wanted to give, whereby we are from different generations, but we have so much in common. Whereby I'll start my story. Your story started when you're 18, is when you got into the relationship. I got into a relationship when I was 19. And it's very similar to Ryle in that it was not the healthiest of relationships. And I got 3 kids as well. But in the middle of all this, for me, they're all like, I might say, and please, if you're coming in, mute yourself so that we do not hear the noise. Anyway, for me, what was different is maybe the era, whereby I can say that maybe I got to be self-aware a bit earlier, or I could tell that something was not right in the relationship that I was in. But unlike Ryle, who would sit single and be like, okay, let me enjoy my time, I can take care of my kids. Me, even in the relationship itself, I knew that I wanted to be in a healthy relationship. I am hopeless romantic. If you know me, and please, Ryle, take over the hosting and admit people. Some people coming. So I really wanted to be in a healthy relationship. I always wanted to be, like somebody has said here, I loved seeing the people who have a natural glow and they're loving their relationship life. And crazy enough, for most people who are here who have known me from way back then, I was in a relationship for over 10 years, but I never posted the person that I was in a relationship with. Never. In any of my socials. I never posted them. And I don't know why. Now that I think of it, because somebody else asked me, stop posting your person. They told me in Swahili, they're going to be, what do we call it? Witchcraft. The juju thing. They're going to be taken away. And then I was like, I never posted my ex, but they still, I'm not with them anymore. So I do not believe in that. And I believe that we can give better stories to better people. Yeah. It's very good. And I know that most of us are here because we wanted to know, how are these women able to get this sort of men? So back to my story, I have so many things going on in my head. I got into a relationship when I was 19, straight from high school. When people are going to university, I was pregnant. I was having a baby. Which is what I usually say when
me too.
You and me, them. But then the thing is, I used to think that when you're married, that's it. And it was the same relationship. We stay, not. I usually say it's a situationship. It's not a marriage. You have to really differentiate between a relationship and situationship, because, like she said, in a relationship, it's more committed. It's not as easy to walk away from. Even though, even in that relationship, it does not mean that if it's not working for you, if it's not healthy for you, you can still not get out. But the commitment levels tend to somehow be stronger for some people, especially when you're married to a healthy person. So anyway, in this situationship of mine that lasted for 10 years, I had tried to walk out like Ryle did. And I know that most of the women who live toxic relationship, because those are mostly the women that I work with, they have left at one point or the other and gone back. So what made me go back? I'll take us back to 2019. That was the first time when I walked out for 6 months. And I'm thinking, I'm 29, I'm pretty. Hey, you think I'm beautiful right now? By then I was fire. I like to tell it as it is anyway. I'm thinking, I had my 2 kids by then. I didn't have the third one. I'm looking good. I can get any man of my dreams. So I'm out there. I joined like the way you think, hey, they're out there, they're waiting for you. So I leave the relationship. The next month, I'm in another relationship. And I did not even want to hear anything like commitment. This was the very first time in my entire life when I was single. Remember, getting married at 19 means that I came from my dad's house to this man's house. Yeah. So I had no time to explore, to party, that was my time. 6 months. Within these 6 months, anyway, I had fun, but I fell for one person. When they say from the frying pan to the fire, that was the definition of me. I got character developed so badly that I was like, hey, better the devil I know. So what do? I take myself back to the relationship. Me, I was not even told, hey, come, we sit back and talk. When they were giving that story, that was during the early months, I did not want to go back because I wanted to have fun. I wanted to explore my newfound freedom. But now, after this character development, I was like, better the devil I know. I do not think this choice, I do not even see any good men out there. Let me go back to this other one because at least he's the father to my kids. But that was around 2020. Come 2022, I knew that I did not want to be in that relationship, and that's when I left. And when I called it quits, I usually say I don't really like to revisit it so much, but let me just say it here because this was the reason why I did not even want us to have so many men or to have any men here, because it's a safe space. And even when you're typing your questions and when we'll open the floor for people to share, this is going to be a safe space. It was, for me, my calling it quits was that day. The relationship that I was in was very abusive, both emotionally, physically, financially, call it whatever it is. I will not say that I lacked anything because we were blessed. When you saw us, you could see couple goals. I had the latest gadgets. I was living in a good house, but I was not happy. I was having anxiety attacks. What Ryle is saying, where you see somebody might be there or not be there. But for me, I had something called an attachment, and this is how we show up in relationships. We go deep in this when we are doing the classes. So my anxiety used to come in where I cling on to someone. I did not want to be alone. I was so afraid of even sleeping alone. But this person is the person who comes at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., or in the morning. So I could not even sleep. And that's resulted to a lot of my anxiety. So in this particular day, when for me it was the day that I called it quits, he actually pushed me in front of my kids. By then, my little one was around three or 4 months old, my little baby girl. He pushed me and I fell and I knocked my head. I actually passed out. And when I woke up, I remember seeing my kids. My son was crying and my neighbors were there. And I'm wondering what happened. And I could hear my son crying. He was 7 and he was saying, Dad, you have killed mom. And coincidentally, that was the same time in Kenya, because I know we have most Kenyans here. We were seeing on the news so many women being killed by their intimate partners. And I remember I used to see it on the TV and think, that could be me next, that could be me next. But then I was thinking, no, because in toxic relationships, when things are good, they're really good. Yes. You feel like this is where you'll be. And I had tried always. I had tried even talking to a woman who would be in church and she would tell me, there's no way God can give you 3 kids and then you're with a person who is not good for you. So I did not believe that I was in the wrong place. But then it just didn't feel right. I was not happy. And I knew at some point, this is going to make me lose my life. And I looked at my kids and I thought, what am I doing? What have I done? Does it mean that with my 3 kids here, God can give me the gifts? I had a friend of mine who had a kid with a condition. And my kids were okay, like they were healthy. Why would God? But her man was very supportive. He was so sweet. So I did not understand, why am I not doing right? I had tried to go quiet. I had tried to, which is against my nature. I love to talk, as you can see. So anyway, that was the day when I said, you know what? Enough is enough. And I told myself, Jacinta, if you can hear yourself, I called myself into a meeting, me, myself, and I. And I told myself, Jacinta, for the sake of the children that you have, remember who you are. And backstory, I had lost my mom when I was 10. And it was that day when I told myself, Jacinta, you can do this. I can get myself together and I can get the life that I want. The difference between the 29-year-old and the now 32-year-old was that not only did I have more responsibilities, I had 3 kids. My youngest was around 3-4 months old, but I also had a different mindset. I did not just want to have fun. I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted somebody who is going to be a good partner to me and a good father to my kids. And yes, I was told, even he himself used to tell me, my ex, there's no way anyone is going to like you with 3 kids. Where are you going? You're here. That is something that we are always told, right?
Yeah.
But then when I left, for me, the difference between me and maybe I jumped into the work. Which work is this? Some of it we'll be talking about it here. Some of it is what we do in our coaching classes. I jumped into the work of realizing or understanding, why did I even attract this person in the first place? Why am I with this person? Why can I not have better? When I see my friends in happy relationships, what am I doing wrong? Because I thought I am trying my best. I am trying to be a good mother. I'm trying to be a good wife. What is it about me? That is what I got into. The first class I joined was to get my finances in order. And then now I joined another class to work on myself. And it was during those classes that I bumped into Ryan. Ryan, she can attest. When I came there, by the way, I almost dropped out of that class. And it was a very expensive class. I was very confused. And my coach required us to be on camera. And I'm there with my kid. I'm in the middle of all these skills in my life. I'm thinking separation. I'm thinking I have a young kid. I'm thinking I need to get my finances in order. I was in a lot of chaos. But this kept me going because I had somebody that I had to be accountable to. Fast forward, I want to make this story short. I met Ariel at a book launch. They were launching a book. It was Bill's book, right?
Yeah, it was Bill's book. You want to go back that we had been texting,
Yes.
messaging each other on Messenger back
We
and
had
forth.
kept in touch because
Yes.
this was like it was still, was it still during class? It was after class. The classes had
After
ended.
class. Yeah. Somehow we just started messaging one another.
Mm-hmm. So she tells me that she's coming to Kenya and she has a book launch. I attend the book launch. During this book launch, I had their story. The story that she has given, wasn't it inspirational? If you found it inspirational and amazing and making you think, I need to answer those DMs, write a comment in the chat. Tell me yes, or inspiration. Because for me, I found it touching and it was like, okay, maybe I need to be more receptive to these people. I had been on dating apps, but like we can say, it's a whole entire jungle. Can anyone hear me? Because I can see somebody else still saying, I increase volume, but Carol says you can hear me well. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you well.
Also increase the volume on your laptop, in case, or your phone.
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you well now.
All right. So say yes. I had the story that Ryle said about Bill, and I could see Bill, and I could see that they're in love, and I could see myself in her. She's this lady, she had her kids, and then here she is with a very nice man, 20 years into the relationship. This is what I wanted. So I told myself that day when I went back home, I am going to be more open-minded to the dating apps. And guess what I did that night? As I was in the dating app, I met someone and we started chatting. And I told him, hey, even I was at my friend's book launch, what, and we chatted, and that was over. I went to bed. The next day, this person that I was talking to asked me out. And they were like, could we do dinner? They were in Nairobi for the first time. And let me tell you something. I used to think that I cannot do long distance relationship because my love language is church. So it means I need somebody to spend time with me. So how is somebody going to be doing the love language with me when they're on the other side of the world? I used to say that long distance relationships are not for me. But when I heard Ryle's story, I was like, hey, maybe my person is on the other side of the world. Yeah. And I see someone says they don't trust online dating. Well, you're a space that I was also in a place like
I didn't trust it also.
Anyway, I decide I'm going to meet up with this guy. It's Saturday, like today. If you're here, but next Saturday, if you can do better, be out there dating. That is what I did on my Saturday. I went out, I met this guy, and to be honest, I didn't think I would ever want to see him again. Why? Because it was just normal. Not the way you go out and you want to meet someone and you're thinking this person is supposed to, like a shooting star is going to pass. You're going to feel your heart some kind of way. And I had felt some kind of way with people. But let me tell you something, and this is just a pinch of what we talk about. I know Ryle has the very same thing in her class. The person who most likely gives you the fireworks at the first date usually is not your person. Let me just say that again for you to sink in. The person most of the time who gives you fireworks and the butterflies mostly is not your person. Why? Because fast forward, the person that I met, who I did not think I'd ever want to see again, is my now husband. But it all started from a lot of mind shift work that I think I'm done with my story for there. That is my story. And what we are going to be talking about is going to be correlating to what happened, what transpired between the person who was in this toxic relationship and the person who now met my now husband. I met him in July of 2023. Remember, I had left the relationship in 2022. I met him in 2023. And in July, 4 months later, he came back and he proposed to me 4 months later. Contrary to what Ryle did not want, which was she just wanted a pen pal. For me, I wanted a relationship and I wanted a person who knew what they wanted. So I hope this makes you see that you really need to be aware of what you're looking and you really need to be intentional and know that what you want might not be what somebody else wants. Yeah. Ryle, can I now move on to the next thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
going. Okay, go ahead.
I think you should introduce on why the class, why we felt like we needed to do this class.
Yes, and before I even go into that, and something that is important and I didn't say, when my husband introduced himself, he told me that he had 5 children and he was divorced and had been living by himself for 5 years. So I was meeting a man that had been single for 5 years, had been single for 8 years. So this guy told me that he had been looking and looking and looking everywhere around the neighborhood, and he didn't find somebody. So he decided to go global, because he was not finding the kind of person that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. But also within those 5 years, he also talked about how he had worked on himself to be a better person and to be a better husband. So he was coming in with 5 children and I was coming in with 3 children, and now we have one child together. And so now we have 9 kids between us. And he has he has 11 grandchildren and I have 3 grandchildren. And so 11 plus 3 is 14. So together we have 14 grandkids. So you can see how our family has been. And we will talk about that one later on after this meeting. So between us, we have all those kids and all those grandkids. So why are we having this class? It's because of the problems that we see, and especially in women and men struggling to find the right person. So right now we have what we call a loneliness epidemic. And the loneliness is not just on women, it's both women and men. When you go to the dating app, actually it's usually 60% men and 40% women. There are more men in dating apps looking for the right woman in the dating app. So most dating apps, you find that there are more men. So women are struggling to find the right partner. Relationships always fail due to poor choices. People do not get ready and prepare themselves for Mr. Right. They want Mr. Right, but are you really ready to accept that Mr. Right? Because that Mr. Right is also looking for Mrs. Right. So you have to do some work on yourself so that you meet the right person, so that your energy, the positive energy that you bring into a relationship, whether it's across on the keyboard or whether it's person to person, you want to attract the right person. When you are the right person, you are not going to tolerate the wrong people, and you're going to swipe left so fast because you're going to recognize them. So most people enter into relationship without being prepared. They just think that I can go there and find the right person, or, oh, so and so will send me a right person and we'll settle together. No. You want to attract the right person, you have to be prepared for that. So it's because of poor choices that we make, and because also we don't know where to look and how to get the right person. When you go to the dating apps, there are more than 8,000 of them. So how do you know which dating app, and how do you know where to look for the right person? Sometimes you are looking at the right person, but probably the person wants something that's different from you, or you are going about it the wrong way. So when you go to get coached, or you go to any coaching program that prepares you, this is one of the things that we do mostly, is to help you date with intention, help you look for a long-term relationship and not just a part-time relationship or something that's going to excite you for a few months and then it's going to fade away. It's looking for those people that want a lasting relationship. How do we prepare you? How do we get you to where you are comfortable and you can recognize that, you know what, I don't want this kind of relationship. Don't want this kind of person, and I'm not going to divulge. So we make a lot of mistakes, not just in choosing the wrong person, but maybe giving our information too soon, or giving them access to us emotionally too. So there are so many mistakes that people make in the dating app. And coaching is something that most people, it's a new thing that has come out in the market. I met Jacinta in coaching. I've gone through so many coaching classes, not just for this, but so many other things, just to make me be a better person, be prepared and know what to do and how to do it. So I will let Jacinta go on to the next slide. But coaching is important because it gets you ready to know who you want, how to go about it, how not to waste time, because these things are so time consuming. So there are so many things that we talk about, and also how to take a break from all that and do a little bit of self-care, maybe recoup and understand where you're going wrong and what you're not doing right, and how to move forward from there. So the goal is to help you date with intention and marry with confidence. So you want to go ahead to the next slide?
Yeah. Let me first just add on to the fact that relationships often fail because of the wrong choices. Sometimes we choose the people who are really not for us, and then we are wondering why the relationship's not working. Like, I didn't really see this fact before, but now I see it. Like, when I hear somebody say that they are in a relationship, and Ryan, please take over the hosting because I can see some people waiting.
Okay.
When you are dating, when you find yourself in a relationship, let's say you're this is an example. You're a church-going person. You have the values of a family. Family is a priority to you, and then you end up in a relationship, choosing a person who loves clubbing, a person who maybe work or business is their priority. How then do you expect that these people are really going to be, that this relationship is going to work when your values do not align? These are things that we are not taught. These are things that we do not really hear about so much. But then we usually think that when we get into a relationship with them, things are just going to fall into place. Things are just going to work. Mind you, like Ryle said, relationships take work. I've been married for now like 7 months, but I can tell you for free, and especially when you're coming from toxic relationships with all the fears that you have, with it's like you're always waiting, and especially when you meet your first healthy person, it's like you're always waiting for the shoe to drop. You're waiting to see this person run. You're waiting to see this person show their true colors because you're like, they're too good to be true. And believe you me, I waited. I waited to see whether this person is too good to be true, whether they're going to change, but they never changed. It only takes you meeting women who tell you that they have wonderful people and they actually know that they're with good people for you to see, hey, yeah, Kumbe, it's true. It can happen. There are good people out there. Yeah. So anyway, and thank you so much for the questions that keep them coming, because I can see them and we are noting them, and
I
we
am.
will address them. Keep the questions coming. Let me talk about.
Can I say something?
Yes, feedback.
Yeah, so me and Jacinta, and this is one of the reasons we are hosting this. So when Jacinta met this man and they started dating, she told me about it. So we have been messaging back and forth. Even when they decided, even when she got engaged, I knew about it. Nobody knew about it. So she kept on telling me. And then I actually went to their wedding and I have met her husband. And I can't tell you because I was so worried about her coming from Kenya here and getting married to this guy. But then when she told me all about him, I say, oh no, he's a very good guy. He's genuine. And then I went to their wedding and met him in person. And I said, you know, you are very lucky to have him. So he's a very nice man. I can account to that. Continue.
Thank you. And April is here too. She has known him for longer, so.
Hi, if I can just interject just really quick.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I don't want to take up much of your time. Just want to let you know. Hi everyone. I'm April. I'm a really good friend of Jacinta's. Thank God that he found her. I am also her husband's childhood friend. So we've been friends really close. He came to one of my weddings, and I'm no longer married. But when he told me about Jacinta from the very beginning, he had been looking and looking and looking. And I said, no, 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 they're not the ones. They're not the ones. I'm telling you. But from the beginning, when he mentioned Jacinta, I was like, yep, that's the one. She's every bit of who I would choose for you. And he knew right away. There was no hesitation. Like, this is real. I just want to let you guys know this is real. There was no hesitation. He told me all about, look, I'm going to propose. Is this the right ring? Is this, I mean, he was just really getting himself together, and he was really ready for the moment for him to propose. So we're just so happy to have Jacinta here with us now. And it's real. Her husband has always been the person he is now. So, yep.
Thank you so much,
you.
April. Yeah, I just wanted to her and what Rael said, because I know most of us are here and they're asking, are there really good men? That is the big question that I get even in my DMs. Are there really good men? Somebody even said when I was talking about him, I was now expecting you to say that he's Jesus. And I was like, okay. Healthy relationships does not mean that these people do not have their flaws. It is actually, and it does not mean that I'm also perfect. I am very far from perfect. Remember, I'm also coming with my own baggage. But what a good relationship is about is that you have two people who are committed to making it work. That means that they're committed to even looking at themselves. Is this what I've done wrong? Okay, I can fix this. I can fix here. And like Rael said, but we also agreed on that. We do not want divorce because we know that it is really so hard to let a relationship go. Even when it is bad for you, it's very hard. So if you could be in a relationship with a person who is committed to making it work,
Yes.
who is helping you to build it, you would not even want to be in a divorce. And this is why even I think, Ryle, it's so hard for women to go back to dating even after being widowed and all that, because I know it's ugly out there. In Kenya, we say soko ni mbaya, but soko ni chafu, because most of the people they are looking and we're talking about the statistics on the dating apps. Most of the men out there are really not healthy, but it does not mean that that they are not good men. They are there. I found one. Ryle did. They are there. And I would also want to know if we have anyone in the community. Yeah, Constance, you said that marriage works. I know, and I know. I even invited some people to come in and just share their part of the stories, because I've also met women who tell me my marriage is also working and it's really nice.
It's great, yes.
Yeah. If you're here, let me know. We'll note you down and you can talk to us about how we can pass. I know time is really moving, so let me go to the presentation. And like we said, before we decide on a healthy relationship or a good man, we all say we are here and we want good people in our lives. But are we ready for good relationships? Are we ready for healthy relationships? And in today, or what I'll be talking about, which is the main thing, is self-worth. And I know I've talked to so many women, like last week and this week, I've been speaking to at least 3 people from my DMs. And the one thing that I hear that they suffer from is self-worth. I know you might be thinking, I'm very confident. I ace in my businesses, and I've had some very, what do I call them? High value women in terms of businesses. They're acing it. They are doing very good. They are earning good money, but they're like, so why can I not get my person? It's because you think you have confidence, but honestly, you have self-worth. Do you believe that you can actually get a good person in your life? I can see in the comments people asking, are you sure that they are good people? I do not think they are good people anymore. I don't think, what are they called? Dating apps have good people. But the question is, when you say that outwardly, do you actually believe that you can get this good person in your life? Yeah. Because you need to be the right person. I usually say this, and I say this even to my coaching clients. I tell them, we attract who we are. We attract who we are, not what we want. We might be here thinking we want a person who is a gentleman, who is holding space for us, who loves us unconditionally. But the question is, are you that? Are you what you say you are? Because if you're not that, chances of you even leaving a relationship that is toxic and ending up in another one are very high. Why? Because it's easier for us to fix other people than to fix ourselves. It's easier to look at somebody else than to look at ourselves. When we say they're not good people, why aren't you getting the good people? Why aren't you able to see them? And I'll do a very simple exercise here. To everyone who is in class right now, let's do this simple exercise. Simply close your eyes. I know I've done this with some of us who I've done a call with. And then open. Look around in your room. Spot all the red items in that room. You may open your eyes now and spot all the red items in that room. Everything that you can see, a red cup, a red watch, just something red. I can see all the red stuff in my room right now. And then close your eyes again. Open. And then spot all the white items in that room. Just white. You can see, for me, I can see a plate, a cup, piece of paper, flower pot. What is this exercise trying to show us? It shows us that when I said red, all you could see was red. Am I right or am I wrong? There was yellow, there was green, there was brown. There are all other types of colors, but you only saw one color. And when I said close your eyes and open again, the second time, and I told you to focus on just white, all you could see was white. What does that mean? There was something next to it. Even maybe that object had another color at the back of it, but you did not see it. That is how our minds work. If you are conditioned to see red, and at this point we are going to take red as the toxic and white as the healthy, even when you go to that dating pool and you believe it in your mind that all you can see is a toxic person, you will see there will be healthy people there, but you will not choose them. All you will see will be the unhealthy ones. So it has to come from within. Do I feel like I deserve this person? It's easier said than done. I know most of us here are thinking, of course, that's all I want. I deserve this person. But do you really feel like you deserve this kind of person in your life? Yeah. And then let's look at how you date when you're dating with confidence. I know some of us have reached out to me here, and I was in the same boat. I was in the dating scene for an year, 2 years. Yes. And I went out on various dates. But there's something that I came to notice after I had done the work that really worked on my self-worth. Self-worth is an umbrella of self-love. When I began to love myself. Are you, first of all, if you're here and you are in a dating app, please comment yes. Let me see how many people are here in a dating app. Comment yes, yes, yes.
I have already been responding to so many of them.
I see
in the chat box, yes. So we have a lot of people that have already been to dating apps and the frustrations and some even swearing they'll never go back. Yes.
Exactly. So, Aya, when you're in a dating app and then you're with this person and you've been communicating for over 3 weeks and you have not even met them, are you dating from confidence or are you dating from insecurity? Let's just start from there. Because 3 weeks just talking to someone and you've never met them, first of all, you're wasting your time. Or this person is just really idle. They have nothing better to do with their time. And they do not respect you well enough. Because let me tell you, for women versus men, we value things and we see things differently. The way you wake up and you find a text from a man saying, hi, how are you doing? Happy Valentine's. And we think, oh, he remembered me. We must be in a relationship. It's very different from a man. For a man, that's considered to be, and not just for a man, even for us all, it's considered to be low quality communication, texts, and call. That is nothing. If a man does not show up, does not take the initiative to show up and actually come and text you, hey, can we meet up? They're interested to know you. They're interested to take time out from their schedule to come sit down with you and have maybe a cup of coffee or dinner. Then that's not worth your time. So when you date from a place of love, self-love, and I've said self-worth is under self-love, you begin to understand things that are serving you and the ones that are not. I know I have spoken to some of us here who have been dating. They said they have been dating the same person for 1 month, for 1 year, 2 years. And I ask you, are you doing a course or are you dating? Because most of the time we are with a person, but you're holding on to them, or you're with them as you're holding space for them to meet the one for them. And then we wonder why they break off the relationship a few months into the relationship with us. Yeah. Someone says dating for 2 years on and on. That is not why are we even dating for 2 years?
You stay there for 2 years.
And then you ask yourself why you're in your 30s and you're now looking at your timer or your clock and you're wondering, where did time go? You wasted it because you are not confident enough to say, you know what, this relationship is not serving me. Let me walk away.
Can I interject?
Yes, please add something.
I think when you mentioned something that men are different from women, and I'm going to talk about two men. One is my husband and one is my brother. Mm-hmm. So men are not the same as women. Men, when they find the one, they are kind of obsessed with the one, and they want to see you, they want to meet you, they want to talk to you, and you are a priority in their lives. It doesn't matter how busy they are. They'll find time to text you, they'll find time to call you, they'll find time to if a man you're just starting to date and it's 2 days and he hasn't even communicated, or it's 24 hours and he's not even saying hi, that man is not into you. So men, they go all in when they get the right person and they get the person. They don't like, I'm too busy. They are too busy because they're doing other things. But when you're a priority, it doesn't matter how busy they are. Texting doesn't take a second, doesn't take 2 minutes. And so my husband started calling me every single day from the day we started dating and I gave him my phone number until the day we got married without fail. Have been his priority for the last 22 years. It doesn't matter what is happening, how busy it is. If anything is happening, I'm upset or something is happening in my life, he will leave everything. I'm always his priority. It has never changed. I have a brother who took so long before he got married because he hadn't found the one. And every time I could see these ladies and I could see the way they were pushing themselves, and I would say, no, until he himself takes the initiative, then I will know that he has found the one. And when he found the one, it was like he wasn't just calling and texting the lady nonstop. Even me, his sister, he could not hold his excitement. And he was in his 40s when he found the one. He was already way over in his 40s when he found the one. And he could not stop telling me about her. And I knew very well from the moment I got that email, I knew very well that was the one. Because men are not going to be quiet especially about their life and the excitement, if they are excited and they're into you. So if they're taking all this on and off, you will find yourself 5 years down the line still waiting for an engagement ring.
It has reminded me of a guy that I dated. He was from the very same dating app, and we'll give the names of the dating apps at the end of this, so stick around to hear about the dating apps. I found some very quality men from that dating app, and I remember the first man that I dated from that app was this guy. He was really cute. They're all ladies here, so we can talk. He was really cute. He was hot. He was tall. He had nice curly hair, and of course, we even look at what he was driving. I most of the time I would make it a point of getting in the venue early enough so that I can see how the person appears, so that I can decide, am I going in or do I say, I'm sorry, I cannot. So this person was even driving a very nice car. Anyway, we met once, we had coffee, and you see the way I said, the person who gives you butterflies most of the time is not your person. So I liked him from the one when I'm thinking, okay, this is the guy that I would really like to show up with. He was very well built and all that. And then the second date, I remember we was to go on a second date, but then he was like, I'm sorry, he canceled short notice. For me, I've taken my time out. We have looked at which time is perfect for the two of us, and then we pick it, and then like that day, some hours before, it's like, I've been called somewhere to go to an office, and then he canceled. The third time, I think I think either he said he was running late or something. That is the prize. Or what are we? What is this? Because let me tell you, if you do not learn how to end it early enough, and this comes when you know your worth, you're going to start something we call a loop. A loop where he's the one who's doing the chasing, and then when he stops doing the chasing, you'll start to feel like asking yourself, am I not worthy enough? Did I do something wrong? Let me also start with the chasing. You will either lose his interest in you because naturally a healthy man is supposed to be the one doing the chasing. The masculine energy, the healthy masculine energy is all about leadership. It's about the chasing. And like Ryle has said, it's very logic. I want this person, I'm going to do everything for them. I'm going to do everything that I can to get them. It doesn't matter whether they're your neighbor or they're in the other side of the world, they will show up. My husband came 4 months for the engagement, and 4 months later he came just to see me. He was not a very wealthy person, let me just say. He's not a very rich person.
Not mine either.
He made
he will find the money.
He will find a way.
He will find a way.
And I remember, because we are in two different separate worlds, I just told him something and he reminds me up to date. I told him, if you want us to be together, you'll find a way. I told him you'll find a way. I was not even worried like, hey, this person, what's going to happen in Inini. By the time that I had really come to learn my worth and know who I am, I knew that the one for me would jump all the hoops and loops. I would not have to do anything.
Yeah.
And that is what the whole self-love and self-worth thing comes and just plays out. This is what will help you to attract the right kind of man in your life. If you
my
ever
husband
find
told me, my husband told me to come visit him in America. I said, no, I'm not coming. If you want me, come to Africa, come to Kenya. Show me that you really want me. And he did.
He did. They always show up. If you're the prize and if they really want you, they are going to jump the hoops and find you and find a way to be with you. You not have to do anything. Yeah. Let me go on because I see we have so many questions, but let me go on to the side. Some of the common mistakes we make when dating and how you can avoid them. When you feel the need to start doing the chasing, when you feel the need to start reaching out, hey, what happened? To start asking, and that is another common mistake. I don't know if I have said, it's actually part of. Let me go from one. Number one, fear of rejection. We are so afraid of being rejected in a relationship, and this ends up to us either being strung along, like when somebody is keeping you there for years and years and years, it's because you do not want to ask the hard questions. What are we? And let me tell you something else. When you have the right person, you'll never have to ask that question. When you already have to ask yourself that question in your mind, it's not going anywhere. Like Ryle has said, she never had to feel alone. Even though the person was on the other side of the world. It was the same case to me. I have been with someone for 10 years and I felt very lonely. And I have had a person on the other side of the world, but I always felt committed. I felt like I was in a relationship because he would make sure he's communicating frequently. I could be able to even tell his program, even though I'm not living with him.
Yeah.
So when we are dating from the fear of rejection, then we tend to overgive. We tend to sacrifice. You'll be there and you'll be overgiving. It's over here. You'll be overgiving. Why? Because you're so afraid of losing this person. And it's not just in dating, it's also in relationships. We are so afraid of being alone. Personally, that kept me in a relationship in a toxic relationship for way longer than it was due. And then you're afraid of asking the tough questions. What are we? I know so many of us here do not like to hear that we can ask such a question. But for us, some of us, we are brave enough to ask. So where is this relationship headed? You've been with this person for 2 years. You're dating a person online, but they have never suggested that they're going to come and see you. Why don't you ask, where is this relationship headed? Mm-hmm. Another mistake, common mistake, is being too desperate. We are the ones making arrangements. We are the ones who are going to even not even asking for fare, but we even offer. If they say they do not have fare or they cannot make it, how many here are guilty of ever paying for dates? These are safe space.
Please don't ever pay for a date. Don't ever send
I'm
any
guilty for paying
fare to come and
dates
see you.
because I know somebody says never, but someone says
It's
me.
never, ever, ever.
Let me tell you, I've paid for a date. I have paid. I've paid for a date. And that day, when I sat down, I asked myself, Jacinta, I told myself, Jacinta,
How desperate do I?
yeah, I just did not want to be alone. Is that fear of rejection when you do not want, and someone is asking what payment exactly? Never, ever. If you have never found yourself, just thank God and never do that.
No.
Never, ever do that, because desperation or wanting to be picked or the fear of being alone. For you, it took you time. I just, when I was learning to be alone and appreciate being alone, that's when I got into a relationship. And when you've been alone for too long, that disappears. It came in, especially when I knew that when I had the fear of, or I had not even done the work on myself, I always knew that I was lonely, but I could not really understand, why am I so lonely? Why do I feel so alone? Why can I not enjoy being alone? This is what the inner work or the self, for you to get to that point where you can say, I am worthy of myself. I am happy by myself. I love myself way too much. So if this person comes in my life, well and good. If they're not showing up, it's still okay. But before you do that work, you'll be making reservations. Somebody will be telling you, send me money, I come see you, and you send. The other mistake, common
Usually
mistake,
better than that, they say, oh, my money, this and this happened to his money and it's coming.
the deals that never mature. Another mistake that we might make is ignoring red flags. You can see right from the beginning, like I was speaking to this lady, and she was telling me about how she got into a relationship with this guy, but they never discussed. Right from the beginning, he would never really want to use his money for anything. He would never want to be the one to offer to do something. She was always the one offering to pay bills. She was offering to finance this relationship. Like whenever they would go out, she'll be the one paying for it. When she finally got into the marriage, who do you think is still paying for the bills?
Herself.
It's her.
Can I give an example here? A real example?
Yes. Please.
When I was single, I went in between my two marriages. So I was dating this guy, and one day we had been dating for some time. One day I went to YMCA with my children. They went to swim there, so I took them swimming. So he wanted to see me. I said, hey, you know what? I'm at YMCA with the kids. You want to join us? And then he said yes. And so we were there and the kids were swimming, and then he offered, I said I wanted to buy fries for the children. And then he offered to buy me fries. I said, no, I'm buying it for the kids. And these are 3 children. And so he bought them 1 plate of chips for them to share. But this was somebody that had a lot of money. And that's it. From that day, I just said, I don't want this kind of people in my life. So, if he cannot afford to buy a separate plate for each of the children, he has
like 1 plate for them to share.
Yes, 1 plate for the 3 children to share.
Wow.
Yeah. So continue. So red flags.
The red flags, if you cannot be able to catch them, or you're going on a date with someone and then they're treating the staff, the waiters, sometimes they lose their tempers. Sometimes they do what? I remember for me in my previous relationship, when I met this guy, he had some marks, he had some scars on his head. And I asked him, and then he would be like something like he got into a fight in a pub, or when they were in a club, and I don't know, he hit a fight ensued, and somebody hit him with a bottle. I was 19. I did not know anything about red flags. It should have been my sign that this person is a very violent person. But did I ever see that part? I did not see it. I was madly in love with him. And how did that end? It ended with me leaving the relationship very traumatized, with marks, with bruises. So let us learn to see something as it is, especially now when we are older, or when you've first of all showed up in this class. That is a tick for awareness. You will know what you're looking out for. Another common mistake that we make is basing our relationship on chemistry. I've given 2 instances of how my dating life was. I met the first guy who I thought he has a nice body, he looks like he could be it. But then this was the person who was always not turning up for dates, either will say that he's running late. And then I met my husband, who I did not feel the chemistry in the beginning. And later on, I would come to learn, not even later on, before that, I had learned because I had gone to class. I had already known that with a healthy person, you will not be expecting the highs and lows. We do not have all that. And that is what the fireworks and the excitement is, the highs and lows. And usually that is what causes the trauma bond, because one day the relationship is too good, the next time it's not working. And that is what creates the addiction or the trauma bond that is so hard to break. But with a safe person, it's constant, it's peaceful. There's no highs and lows. But remember, you have a system, like my system was used to the highs and lows. My system was used to the constant ups. Sometimes we are fighting, sometimes I'm being brought flowers. So my mind was used to seeing the red, like the exercise that we did before. Anyway, chemistry will never be enough in a relationship. And like I've said, the person that you think is the one, most of the time is not the one for you. I talked about overgiving and hoping that they're going to change. Like when you're doing things for them, if Rael had decided, you know what, let me pay for this, which maybe later in life he's going to change. Probability of them changing is 0 to 10 or 2 to 10 if it works in the higher space. And finally, this is a huge one, especially when you're operating from a place of desperation. Some people use commitment to get to you, especially if you're a single mom. And I'm talking this to the women here who follow me because they have children and they wonder, will I ever get someone for me? Someone might, from the beginning, you sit down with someone and they start telling you, oh, we are even going to build a house. Within the week 1, they're telling you about a relationship. They can already see how it's going to go. Ask yourself why. They do not know, you do not know them. They do not know you well enough. Why are they rushing to tell you about all these things right now, all of a sudden? Some of them use a ring, they dangle it, just like some use money. It's a weapon, it's a tool that is used to put your guard down, or is supposed to help to lower your guard down, or to soothe you. So before someone rushes, I know some of us might be wondering, but you got engaged by the 4th month. Remember, I had first of all done the work on myself. I could be able to tell that this person, his consistency, I knew my values, the ones that I was looking for, and one of them was consistency. In all the 4 months that I had been speaking to this person, and he was on the other side of the world, not once did I ever have to ask myself, like, he's ghosting me. Or I don't know, sometimes you call it. No, those things that this person that I'm marrying is actually my person. Questions, please type them because of time. Let me not answer questions, but I see a lot of comments and questions. Rael, do you want me to do this as well?
Which one? Question.
That choosing.
Yeah, go ahead and just go through it real quick because we have, and I'll do the next one.
Because of time. Okay. Yeah. So how do we choose wisely? This is where I came from just a few years ago, months ago. How do you choose wisely, and what really matters in a relationship? Some of the key things that you look for in a partner It's not about what they have. It's not their wealth. It's not what they have in their bank accounts. Because like we have seen before, that can be a tool for manipulation. That can be a tool to hook you and later abuse you. So some of the things that I personally looked for were things like the shared values. Like I've said, if you value honesty, if you value consistency, that was something that was huge for me. Because being anxiously attached or an anxious person who clings onto people, I knew that I did not want someone triggering me, and someone who is inconsistent really triggers me. So for me, I needed somebody who was high on things like consistency. And it was also equally important to them. They also valued family. Like I have heard Ryle say, for them, when they got into the relationship, it was purely, they decided that this relationship was going to work. That means that you're both committed to the same thing. Interests, we both love dressing up. We both love religion. Let me not just say God, because I know we are from different religions here, but yes, we do value religion a lot. In the dating app, I knew that I wanted a person who had a relationship with God. I had seen so many people and I thought they would be they're good partners for me. But then some of them were saying God doesn't really matter, religion doesn't really matter, or they're, what do they use? Agonistic, something like that. So that they do not, it doesn't matter to them.
Yeah.
And then there was something like age. What is the age? Or let's not even go first of all to age, because I can see somebody who has commented something about age. Let's go to emotional maturity. Does it come with age? I do not think it comes with age. And this is why I say that things like kids and age, those are the two factors that are not determined by age. I have been, he's in his late 30s. I was with a person in their mid 30s. But the way they show up, the way they think, the way they communicate is totally different. So it has to align. How do you like it or how do you reason with these people? It's going to be very different, the two. And then you need to consider long-term compatibility, like a long-term commitment versus a short-term excitement. Like I've said, I could have gone with my guy who was tall, handsome, was driving a Range Rover. We go party. I know I would have gone to Mombasa, to Dubai and all that. Or I could have looked at long-term. This person is the person who cancels on you when you're just dating. This is the person that will be disappearing on you even in marriage. So look at both. Don't just look at, okay, we are dating now. How is it going to look like later in future or in the marriage? Is this a person that we can communicate? Is this a person that I feel safe with enough to talk? Let me tell you something crazy. My husband told me a very big secret during our first date. And I was there thinking, trying to analyze. The relationship coach in me came out. He did not even know that I'm a relationship coach. But it came out like, first of all, one, why are you telling me this? Is it manipulation? Two, but then deep inside, I was thinking, and I had always thought to myself, I wish I could go out on a date with somebody who will give me their worst first. Because we all put our best foot forward. We want to look good, we want to talk good, we want to check our mannerisms. So imagine dating a person who brings out their worst first. He did not know it, but it worked both ways. It was both a tick and a thumbs down, because it left me with more questions than answers. Anyway, let's go on. And then it's mute. Okay. Don't shy away from discussing the difficult topics. The topics of where are we going, who are we, when are you coming to see me? Any doubt that you have in your mind, what is the worst thing that can happen? Is the relationship ending? And if this person is not good for you, it will end eventually. Rather than being stringed along.
Yeah.
You do not want to waste your time. You do not want to waste your good years. I usually say, imagine if I have to live until I'm in my 80s, but I still held on. That was another thing that pushed me to break away from the toxic relationship. I thought, I'm 32. If I live to 82, it means that for the next 50 years, I'm going to be stuck with this person. Am I willing to be stuck with this person for that long?
Exactly.
So I'm rushing in this. Rael, take over, please.
So I'll start over from asking difficult questions. When I left my husband, I got married when I was 18. I left when I was 28. So I was 28 years, and I had a 10-year-old child at that time when I left. But I remember in my thinking the same thing you are thinking. I was thinking, am I going to be in this life for the next 60 years? Because I was hoping to live up to 90. So, and that is one of the reasons why I decided to leave, because I didn't want to live like that for the next like 30, 40, 50 years. So I decided to leave. But now going into this relationship, we ask the hard questions. Don't shy away from asking difficult. We talked about religion. We talked about finances. We talked about our children, his children and my children. We decided that we'll take a break, and try to just leave, not have any kids, because we had kids from, both of us. But then I got pregnant without wanting to get pregnant. And so we decided, okay, let's see what God will bless us with. And so I miscarried that pregnancy, and then Samuel came along, our son. But we discussed all these things. There was nothing that happened in our life that we had not discussed prior. And it was going deep into and we are discussing even before we met, because we were manifesting our future together. And we wanted it to be something that we have talked about and we have decided, and that works for both of us. He wasn't even Catholic. And I told him, it's okay for you to go, whichever he was going to, TD Jakes, if you want to go there, I'll still go to the Catholic church. And he said, no, I don't want to split the family like that. The family, if we are going to church, we'll go together. And he decided to join the Catholic Church, which took us quite some time. But now he is, because prayer and being a Christian and religion was very important for us, for both of us. And so these are things that we discussed before. When you're asking, if they don't want to answer the hard questions, they're not for you. If they don't want to say what their belief system is, then maybe they're not for you. So we'll go to the next slide. But I just wanted to say that don't shy away from asking the difficult questions. Asking them about their past or their past relationship, or why they left, or why they were divorced in the first place. I asked my husband, you're talking so nicely about her. Why did you divorce if she was so good? Yeah, because he always had very nice things to say about her. But anyway, 22 years down the line, he's always saying the best things about his ex-wife, and we are good friends. So can you take me to the next slide? So why is boundaries a must in a relationship? Because you want to be respected even by your husband. So healthy boundaries protects you from manipulation, because this is the biggest thing on the dating apps, is they try to manipulate you. We have many people that go there for for maybe not just manipulation, but trying to get money from you in a way. But they get smarter and smarter as people try to get to know what they want. So you have to be very vigilant and to protect yourself from being manipulated by these people. So today in the morning when I woke up, I got a text from my brother. I have many brothers. So this was my stepbrother, and I got a text for him. So I responded immediately because I know that this is my brother. And then as I continued to communicate with him, I realized, my brother would never say such a thing or use such a word. This may not be my brother. And then I just decided to hesitate, and I responded. And then the next one confirmed my fears that, yes, somebody has maybe hacked his account and is trying to reach me. And so you have to know how to protect yourself from manipulation, because there are so many unhealthy and sick people out there. So boundaries are a must, because also you want to have good, healthy discussions. you want to meet somebody that you can relate with them intellectually. And Jacinta posted yesterday about going on her first date with a big white trench coat, covering herself completely because she did not want that to be the first thing that attracts the potential husband. And it's the same thing when you put your photograph out there, half naked, or with your butt showing half of it, or with your, today I had to make sure that my cleavage wasn't showing, then you're showing the other person that the goods that you're bringing to the table is your body and your beauty and maybe that. But I wanted somebody that we could relate with intellectually. We could talk and laugh and discuss issues. Not just my husband, but somebody that I love to be in his company. So when you're promoting healthy discussions, you want somebody that you can reach your level of intelligence, when you put it that way. Because you're going to spend the rest of your life with this man. So you want to be able to, the topics that you're discussing with him should go beyond when are we going to meet next, what are you doing today, and all those fun stuff. They should go deep. And if somebody is afraid of going deep with you, then how is it going in your relationship? It's going to be very shallow. In the 10 years that I lived with this man, I didn't even know him. I didn't know what he liked or loved or what his favorite color was. So these are some of the things that you want to be able to discuss with somebody. At the same time, the person should be able to respect your autonomy, your independence, the things that you want to do, the passions that you want to pursue. In my relationship with my husband, he has allowed me to pursue anything and everything that I've ever wanted to do. And I've done the same for him, supported him while he's doing it, but still living in the same household. So you have to respect each other's autonomy and individuality and being an individual. Like, I'm from Kenya, he's from here. If he wants his burgers all day long, he can make that. But I have to cook my rice and my chapati and my ugali, So we still have that in our family where everybody is able to live and enjoy the things that they like. And also mutual respect. This is more important than love. If somebody loves you, but doesn't respect you, doesn't respect your parents, your children, for example, doesn't even respect your children, then how can that be respect? And it's not just him respecting my children. It's also me respecting his children and his children coming to our house and feeling like this is their father's house and it's also part of their house. So it's not just him respecting me, but also me respecting him. It's mutual respect, okay? And not also crossing boundaries. And I talk about this, but this is not the place for it. But how do you make sure that the children don't turn against the other spouse? So that is for another day, but that's also very important here. But also you want to grow as a person. You don't want to be identified as just Mrs. Secondrod. You want to be identified, oh, I'm Ryle, I'm an individual. I want to have my personal growth even in this relationship. I don't want to be the way that, I know that sometimes you go into a relationship and you actually become worse than you were because you try to take up the bad habits that he brings into the relationship, or the habits that are not for your personal growth. They actually bring you down. And that's why you want to be with somebody that's going to promote you, and also you promote him, or give you the space in order for you to flourish. Even if he's not going to promote you, but he give you the freedom and the space and the peace that you need for your own personal growth. We can go to the next slide. So boundaries are a must. And it doesn't mean that you're becoming like tough or things like that. It's just you're caring about yourself. So what does healthy love looks like? It looks like trust. So if trust is broken in a relationship, I told my husband before we got married that I think I can forgive everything, but I cannot forgive infidelity. Because I saw what it did to my marriage. I saw how I was almost like a doormat in that relationship, and how the women would just come even in a space where I was and disregard me. And I was not ready to be humiliated like that ever again. So I told my husband, even before we got married, that I think I can forgive anything in a marriage, but I cannot forgive infidelity. So my husband knew straight on that I was marrying him. But if there was ever going to be an infidelity in our relationship, I was going to be out. I'm a Catholic. I believe in marriage, and I believe in living together forever, the sanctity of marriage. But that is one thing that I cannot stomach because it almost killed me. It was at a point that before I went to bed, I was taking about 8 to 9 pills. I was in deep depression. So I'm not about to go back there again. So trust is so important in a relationship. He trusts me and I trust him. Being accountable. Like if I did something wrong, I am accountable and I go to my husband and I say, I'm sorry that I did this. I didn't mean it to hurt you or to harm you. And I didn't know that it was going to have such an effect on you. So being accountable for the things that you do and and what you bring into the relationship, like you do your part. A relationship is never one way; it's both ways. So he does his part, I do my part, and the parts that you do together, you do it together. But you become accountable for everything that you do. Honesty, I cannot tell you in the dating apps. Anytime you smell dishonesty, please run. If they're telling stories that do not add up, 2 plus 2 is not 4, just say, you know what, maybe I'm not the one for you, and just close that conversation and start with somebody else. If somebody is being dishonest even before you begin a relationship, how is it going to go? Why begin it anyway? Why forgive him and give him a chance and continue communicating with him when he has already shown you that he can be dishonest? So if they lied, and when I in my classes when I teach, please don't lie. Don't lie in your profile. Don't lie when you start telling stories. Because when you want to be honest, if you have 3 children and you're out there telling people that you're single and you don't have any children, then when they discover that you have children, then how does the conversation go? You lose a very good man, but also you block yourself from getting good men. What I know with men is they want you as a person. I know you may come with a baggage like we came with our 3 kids, but they were not looking for somebody with 3 kids. No, they were looking for a life partner. And in me, he got a life partner. And yes, I came with my 3 children who are now gone and living their own lives. So if you have children, let it not stop you. And don't feel like you have to be out there as a single lady to attract somebody. And then later on, you're going to tell them that you're, anyway, by the way, I have 3 children. That is being very dishonest. If it's not out there in your profile, let them know the very first time when you meet or when you say hi. So that if they want to run, let them run and give you the peace and the space to get somebody else on the same app. So active listening is actually listening to
May
what
I add something?
saying. Yes.
Let me add just a little something about the honesty part, because I've also had the very same question. I have had people ask me, is it correct to include that I have kids on a dating app? And I say a very big yes, because
Yes.
there was, for me, I had actually stated that I have kids and I do not want more. And I said, if the person for me, we respect that for me. And if there are the people who want kids, then you keep it moving. And the same thing, even for me, I was looking and putting it like that out there. My husband does not have any kids of his own. And he actually attributed his open-mindedness because before he was also looking for someone who does not have kids. And he told me that he had a talk even with the friend April. And April, I think I need to buy you some coffee. We discussed how the conversation went. Because he told me that by being around the friends now, like they convinced him, and they would ask him questions like, does that mean that now you close the doors to somebody good in your life because they simply have kids?
Yeah.
And for me also,
that was me. I asked him that question. Yes,
he
ma'am.
told me about that. And let me tell
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
sometimes because we ask, I'm being on this dating app, where is my person? Maybe he had to go through that, or why is he taking too long? They have to go through a process for them to be right for you. And for myself too, I thought that the person for me, first of all, when I left the relationship, I thought I want an older guy so that he can be a trophy wife. He will not want me to have more kids, and he will have lots of money. That is what I was thinking. And he should be divorced with money and grown kids so that they do not disturb me. How many here have thought like that? That was me. And then later on, we'll include the dating app at the end. Both of us have been on dating apps, we'll include some. And then I moved from that thought. I went to the thought of, okay, I want a man who has been divorced before, because I thought that was the best person to understand me, and he should have kids. But then I was in therapy, and I remember my therapist, she was a younger girl, lady. She asked me, Jacinta, are you trying to tell me that you don't think there is a man out there who is going to love you and your kids, even though he does not have kids? And I contested. For 2 sessions, I was like, no, I do not think there is a man out there without, he will not be able to understand what it means. I'm coming with 3 kids, not 1. But then later on, I also had another lady. I went into another masterclass like this, and had a lady who had 2 boys, 2 sons, and she had gotten married to a man who did not have kids. And then I was like, hey, that sounds way better. Let me adopt that one. So that is how I ended up thinking, let me open myself more to a man who does not have kids as well. I saw on his app that, yes, indeed, he did not have kids. So honesty is very important. You want somebody to take you as you are, flaws and all, because at the end of it all, like now when you're married, they will see everything that you have. They will know all of those, your good parts and everything, even whether you snore or not. They will know everything. I'm not saying say that you snore. But
And let me say this, Jacinta, just to add one more thing. And he will accept you as you are, ladies. I remember Mr. Huffman, Jacinta's husband, when he called and told me, my phone just kept ringing and ringing. I was like, what's going on? And he was like, she's coming. I said, oh my gosh, she's coming. Like, what do you mean? And I started crying. And he said, wait a minute. I need to know about car seats. And that was the only thing. That was the only thing he wanted to know about. He was like, I got to know about car seats. You're crying. I got to get ready for my new family, you know? So, yeah, the right man will make adjustments, for you.
So that he had help. He had made sure that the house is comfortable. The car, yes, has a car seat for my little girl. The rooms are painted, everything. I had to, I was starting from scratch. Even like, why do we go to hospital? He has the friends on the side to ask. I came and he was prepared for us. And this is a person who has never had kids. But then he's now running a family with 3 kids. And he looks like he's been doing it for years, if you see him. So
it's very sweet. I remember us taking pictures and him taking the girls to the bathroom. And this is a very good man.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'll continue there. So please don't lie. Be honest from the get-go. If they are not for you, they will move on. My husband didn't want any woman with kids, and here I am, and he has helped raise these kids. My daughter was 11 years old when we got married. Now she's 33. So you can see that. Basically, he's the one who has raised him. When I left, she was 4. So you can see that. So emotional maturity. So you want an adult, and I'm not talking about years. You want somebody who is, who can speak sense, things that make sense and that are serious and that can make decisions, because you want somebody who is not just going to be the head of the family, but who is going to hold you during difficult times. So, what I can say is that when I was looking in my profile, I did state that I was single, I had 3 kids, but I also stated that I wanted a guy who was 36 to 50. That was the age, because I was 36 years old when I was looking. So I wanted an age not older than 50. I thought 50 was too old. So I said 32 to 50, and he was 50. So when we met, I was 36 and he was 50 years old. And our age is something that people have talked about on and on. People have said all the nasty things out there about age and about him being old. But it had never crossed my mind that he was old until everybody else starts talking about it, especially now that I'm a public person. But let me tell you, I don't care. I don't care because I put it on the profile. I got the same. I didn't say that I wanted somebody that is 70 or 80. No, there's a 14-year difference between us. So you want somebody that is reliable. This is so important.
Let me just add that just like there are some women here who are worried about their age,
mm-hmm.
it is universal. By the end of the day, and this is something that I had to learn, if I got into a relationship with the hot guy that I was thinking there, at the end of it all, he still comes at home and we are faced with problems.
Yes.
Like the real life now happens.
Real life problems.
You have to choose a person that might not be the best for everybody else. Even for me, I was asked a lot of questions like, you want to tell me you did not see a good Kenyan man out there, you have to move to the other side of the world, and like, why are you giving up on your country to do all these things? But then at the end of it all, it was, how do I connect with him? And is he a person that I'm willing to have the hard talks with, just like you're saying? Because right now we think we have our 3 kids, they need things, they need clothes, I don't know, for winter, I don't know, they want what. Am I going to be with a person that I cannot even talk to, that I'm afraid to even express myself?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of it all, it's not about age, it's not even about how they look, it's about your relationship with this person, and you're the only one who can be able to really tell how the two of you get along. Everybody else can get on board. Even for me, not everybody likes me. They also ask him the same things, and they also warned him. A woman from Africa, she's just going to come here to get the visa and leave you. But he had to listen to himself and trust that what you feel for this person is right. Just trust. And that comes even from self-love. Self-love, self-worth, there's something else called self-trust. It's a big, big thing, and it all comes from self-love. When you love yourself, you're going to trust your decisions, and that will mean even the people that you let into your life. Just wanted to add that.
Okay, so I'll continue. So you want somebody that is reliable. I don't even want to go deep into that. But also you need somebody that is self-aware. So because we have men that sometimes they take you and they want to control you because of their own insecurities. But if you have a man that is self-aware, then he'll be stopping himself and saying, do I really need to do this? Is this really important? And so our men have been taught not to be in touch with their feelings. And it is very understandable that they find it hard to be free or to talk freely or to be really in touch with their feelings. But you need a man that is self-aware enough to know when they are hurting you, or to know when they're saying something that is offensive, or to know when not to cross those boundaries. Okay? But you also need to be self-aware yourself. And then the thing that I want to end this slide with is the deep caring. The deep caring go beyond the superficial. And deep caring goes to where, like I know when I was giving birth to our son, my husband was right there. And I didn't know how to push because they had given me this epidural when I had all the other kids, push with all the pain screaming on top of my head. Now I have an epidural and I can't feel the pain, and they're telling me push. And he's there, standing there with me and telling me, look at me, I want you to do this. And at that moment, I say, I wish I had this man before I would give birth like 20 kids. because he made it so easy for me, and he was coaching me through childbirth. And, I knew that he cared, but now watching him as a dad and watching him go through childbirth with me and watching him relate to my kids, it is so refreshing to have somebody who cares and cares deeply, whatever happens to you, whether it's you as an individual or it's my work, or even, when I come from work, I know if I'm disappointed or I lost a job, he's the first person that I will call because I know he cares about me very deeply. And they have to show this when you're still dating. It's not just waiting until they get married to show that they care about you deeply. It's when you tell them about what's going on in your life and how they respond to it. Can we go to the next slide?
And could we add that the deep caring does not involve money most of the time when you're going through things? Though it is a way. And let me just add this because I've had some people ask me, how can I ask for money from a man? You don't use it in that sense. A man giving you money or not giving you money really does not say whether he cares for you or does not. And
you want something that will last, something that will go beyond money, because money comes and goes.
And some of them may be giving, but it's because they have too much. And there's somebody who gives from a place of, I care, you're going through a situation, let me help out. And a tip for you ladies, to know whether a man is a provider before you even get married to him. When you give a situation like you have this and this going on in your life, you're not even supposed to ask outright, like, give me money. You're supposed to respond. Yeah, from a scenario that maybe you're going through a situation like this and this is happening, and not the simple things like my phone has died, I need credit, or I need that.
Or I need
a real situation that is going on in your life, and you see whether they can step up. You can be able to tell whether a man is a provider or not. Yeah. And sometimes there's also the thing of culture. Like I came to learn from the Western culture, they do not believe in providing for a girlfriend. They will provide for a wife, but not for a girlfriend. So before you call somebody mean, so understand where they're coming from. Yeah.
And how they were raised and how they were brought up. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do we move from dating and talking about marriage? So you need to look at the signs going on in the relationship. If you've been dating somebody and you have already intimated is you have already said it, or you have already shown that you are interested in more than just dating, you want a long-term relationship. If you have been sending those hints and this person is not forthcoming with either giving you a date or talking about future plans with you, then maybe you are not the right person. So you have to look at not beyond respect, but shared goals. Where are you going to? Where is your road leading to? Is it leading to marriage? Is it leading to sex? Does he just want you until the time he can get you into bed? And then what next after that? Okay. Do you have complete trust for this person? Complete trust. Like I've had it since we got together, and now 22 years down the line, I have complete trust. Complete 100%. So do you have complete trust? What about commitment? Is this person committed to you, or he's committed to other things? I put in a post the other day saying that my husband is not generous. No, he's not. If you've read his book, you know the kind of background he's coming from. So he does not just spend money, you know, but he will make sure you are comfortable, you have food to eat, a very nice place to stay. But all those extras that you want, he does not want them, and either he's not forthcoming with them. But I trust him completely 100%. Is he committed to us? 110%. What about conflict management? Yes, we approach it together as a couple. And he will tell me, I don't like the way you talk to me. You know, if I said something and he feels offended. And I'll tell him that, that wasn't appropriate. And then we'll sit down and talk about it. So anytime that we have any conflict, and we have a lot of conflicts, how many kids do we have? 9 between us. How much conflict do we have? A lot. Comes and goes, comes and goes. So sometimes it has to do with the children, sometimes it has to do with our relationship, but we approach it as a couple. And the children know because they have tried the trick of going from one to another. Sometimes they succeed, but most of the time they don't because we stand together as a unit. So how do we approach the conflict management? So that also shows up even before you get married and before you start in as a couple. And I can see where when we were communicating and he was in the US and this was like a long distance relationship and we could have conflict about the number of people that were going to come to the wedding. Why do you have to make it big? What are you trying to show? And I'm saying, I'm not making it big. I have 16 brothers and sisters and they have their wives and their husbands and my work people. There was no way I could have a small, intimate wedding like he wanted. And so we had to sit down and agree. And we agreed on a maximum of 50 people, which meant I left so many people out. It did not even end up like that. But he had to come to my life and my environment to understand what I was telling him, that it was just not possible because of the kind of my family background and the fact that there's so many of us. But that's how you handle conflict, is you do it together and you agree, okay, it's not going to be all these people. So I'm going to cut out all the cousins and all the aunties that wanted to come to my wedding. So we have something that we could afford, you know. And what about emotional connection? So if you are sad, does he share your sadness or he dismisses it? I think this is one of the things that you can, like if you are angry or you are raising your voice and instead of him trying to understand what you're talking about, he's trying to dismiss it like you're nagging. That's a word that I've never had in this household, but it's a word that I was accused of a lot. That if I'm talking and I'm trying to express myself, I'm nagging. So emotional connection is so important. I cannot tell you how, because you're going to have conflict and you're going to have this emotional outburst. How does the other person respond to it? We can go to the next and you can take over from there, Jacinta. So we can go through this really quick because it's already 2 hours. And so we can start having questions and answering their questions and telling them about the web, the dating sites. So you can go through this two really quick, yeah?
Yeah. So those who have been asking, like, how can they join the WhatsApp groups and keep the questions coming? We're about to wind up and to start the questions. We'll be here to do the questions for like another hour. How you can work with either me and Rael. For me, I've said, I don't know whether I can just give my story, but I work with women who are either in toxic relationships or are living toxic relationships.